My child, you stand at a threshold not by accident but by divine appointment. The video you are watching now is not a random occurrence. It is a sign, a marker on your spiritual journey, meant only for those I have guided through a particular season of unseen trials. If you are hearing these words, it is because you have persevered. You have passed a test, not of worldly knowledge or visible strength, but of the heart's quiet allegiance to me. I understand the question swirling within you. You wonder, what was this test? Why did it feel so difficult, so lonely? Lean in closer, my beloved, and let me quiet your spirit with the truth. I have been your constant witness. From the moment you drew your first breath, my eyes have been upon you. I have not missed a single moment. I saw you navigating through valleys of deep shadow where doubt became a suffocating fog. I heard the whispers in your own mind that told you were not worthy, that your strength was an illusion. I was present in the silent hours when tears you refused to show the world streamed down your face in private. I have observed how the world has tried to press you into its mold, how it has misunderstood you, judged you, and attempted to force you into a shape that was never yours to bear. Yet, through all of this pressure, you did not shatter. Oh, you bent, my child. I saw you bend so far you thought you would snap. I saw you weep until it felt there were no tears left. I saw you stagger, losing your footing on a path that seemed to crumble beneath you. But the crucial thing, the thing I was watching for, is that you did not break. You held on. That endurance, that refusal to completely let go, was the very thing I needed to see. You ask about the nature of the test. It was a test of obedience in the quiet. It was a test of patience when everything in you screamed to run ahead. It was a test of silent endurance when your flesh yearned to cry out in bitterness. You were tested in the moments no one else was watching, when you had every right to be angry but chose a quiet prayer instead. You were tested in the seconds you could have fought back with words of fire, but chose to hold your peace, trusting me to be your defender. This trial was never meant for public display. It was not a performance for others to witness and applaud. The entire examination took place within you, in the secret chamber of your heart, the holy place where only I am invited to dwell. It is there, in that inner sanctuary, that I saw your victory. This was not a test designed to punish you or to find fault. It was a test designed to reveal. It was meant to reveal the incredible strength I wove into the fabric of your spirit before you were even born. It was meant to uncover the profound depth of your heart's loyalty to me. It is easy for many to proclaim their love for me when the sun is bright, when prayers are answered quickly, and when the path before them is smooth and clear. But I search for the hearts of those who whisper my name when the storm clouds gather on the horizon. I look for the ones who still call on me when the fierce winds of adversity howl around them, when doors they prayed for slam shut, and when the light of hope seems to fade into darkness. I look for those who are willing to wait for me without needing a spectacular sign. I seek out those who trust me without demanding a full explanation for their circumstances. I treasure those who continue to believe in my goodness even when all the evidence around them suggests they have been forgotten. That, my precious child, is the test you have just passed. Now, because you have walked through this refining fire, you have not merely been proven, you have been purified. The heat was intense, but its purpose was to burn away the impurities, the dependencies, and the fears that were clinging to you. You cannot yet see the full scope of what I have been preparing for you during this time, but soon I will open your eyes to a new reality. Do not make the mistake of expecting your next chapter to be a continuation of the last. I am doing a new thing in your life. The old ways, the old cycles, the former things have passed away. I am birthing something powerful and new within you, a creation that could only be formed through this very process of fire, of silence, and of unwavering trust. The pain you have endured was never meaningless. Every moment of it was purposeful, intentional, and divinely orchestrated to prepare you for what is to come. You will soon begin to sense a shift in the spiritual atmosphere around you. At first, it may be subtle, like the gentle turning of a tide. I will begin to open your spiritual ears, allowing you to hear my voice with a clarity you have not known before. I will reawaken the dreams I placed in your heart long ago, but this time they will not be vague desires. They will come with a divine clarity and a weight of purpose. You will no longer feel the need to chase after other people's opinions or seek external confirmation for what you feel stirring in your spirit. I myself will be your confirmation. I will speak to you in the stillness of your soul, and my words will carry the authority of eternity. They will be the anchor that silences your fears and drives away all confusion. You ask, what comes next? Listen closely, my child, for I do not lead my children into confusion, but I guide them with divine purpose. What comes next is a season of divine alignment. You will begin to see me gently removing things from your life that no longer serve your higher calling. Understand that this is not a punishment, but a preparation. Certain relationships, certain habits, and even certain places will naturally begin to fall away. Do not cling to them. Do not mourn their departure as a loss. For what I remove, I always replace with something far better. What I prune, I cause to bear more abundant fruit. The doors I close are closed only so that I can open far greater ones for you. You have just passed through a narrow place, a spiritual bottleneck. That was your wilderness season. That was your time of being hidden from the world. You were never forgotten. You were intentionally concealed. I covered you with my hand while I performed a deep work within you. I hid you from the eyes of those who, knowingly or not, would have spoken words of death and doubt over the promise I was cultivating in you. I placed you under the shadow of my wing, not because I was displeased with you, but because I delighted in you and was fiercely protective of your process. I kept you close to my heart, even in the moments when you felt completely alone and could not feel my presence near. Now I am calling you to step forward, not in a rush, not with anxiety, but with a quiet and holy boldness. You will not need to strive for position or fight to be seen. I myself will cause my light to shine through you in such a way that it cannot be ignored. I will make your name known in circles you never imagined, not for your own glory, but because your heart is now prepared to carry my glory without being corrupted by pride. You will not take credit for the miracles. You will instinctively and joyfully direct all praise and honor back to me. That is precisely why I chose you. That is why you endured the test. That is why you were hidden for a season. Let me speak directly now to that small part of you that is still wrestling with doubt. Yes, I see it. I see the questions you have carefully buried beneath layers of faith, hoping no one, not even I, would notice. I want you to know that I am not angry with your questions. I welcome them. Bring all of your uncertainty to me. I am not intimidated by your weakness. In fact, I am drawn to it. For it is in the very moments of your weakness that my strength is perfected and made most visible in you. You have nothing left to prove to me. I already know you completely, and I still chose you. I chose you knowing every time you would falter. I chose you knowing every moment you would fall short of your own expectations. My love for you does not fluctuate based on your performance. It is immovably rooted in my very nature, which is love. The time in your life that you looked back on and considered wasted was actually a season of intense preparation. The chapters that you labeled as failures were, in my eyes, the laying of a divine foundation. I have been constructing a spiritual framework within you, a structure strong enough to withstand the immense weight of the blessing and responsibility I am about to pour into your life. You are not being delayed. You are being fortified. You are not being held back. You were being matured. You were being separated from the clamor of the world so that you could learn to distinguish the pure sound of my voice. There is a release coming. I am about to release you into the fulfillment of the very things I whispered to your heart in secret. The dreams you thought were too big, the callings that seemed too distant, the promises that felt impossible, they are now drawing near. But they will not manifest in the way you imagine. I do things in ways that confound the wisdom of the world. I do not follow the predictable paths of men. I carve my own paths through the wilderness. I am known for taking the lowly and lifting them to places of honor. I am known for taking the rejected and crowning them with my favor. That, my child, is your portion. Prepare to walk in a stream of divine appointments. Watch in awe as doors of opportunity open before you without any effort on your part. Watch as the right people are drawn to you, not because you sought them out, but because I have sent them. Watch how the resources you need simply appear at the right time. Watch how everything in your life begins to align and converge with a supernatural precision. That is my hand at work. You will know it is me because it will be accompanied by a profound sense of peace, not pressure. You will not have to manipulate or force anything to happen. I will cause it all to flow to you because your heart is now aligned with mine. You will be tempted to downplay what I am doing through you. The enemy will tempt you to shrink back in false humility. Walk humbly, yes, but never apologize for the light I have placed within you. You are not being arrogant when you walk confidently in the gifts and calling I have given you. You are being obedient. Let your confidence rest entirely in me, not in your own abilities. Do not dim your light to make others feel more comfortable. Do not minimize your calling to avoid the sting of potential rejection. You are not responsible for how other people react to your obedience. You are only responsible to obey. Let me remind you of a profound truth. You were made for this specific time, not for any other. I placed you on this earth, in this generation, in this exact moment of history, because I saw something unique in your spirit that perfectly fits a piece of my divine puzzle. Your voice matters. Your unique steps on this journey matter. Your obedience matters. Every yes you give to me sends echoes into eternity. Every hidden act of love, every sacrifice no one saw, every prayer uttered through thirst, it all matters immensely. Nothing has been wasted. You will begin to feel a new sense of urgency, but it will not be the frantic energy of anxiety. It will be the calm, powerful pull of divine motion. I am on the move, and I am moving you with me. You will no longer feel stuck. The cyclical patterns of defeat you have been living in are over. I am breaking the loops. I am severing the ties to the old ways of thinking and behaving that have held you captive. The enemy has worked hard to convince you that you would always struggle, that you would always be overlooked, that you would always be on the outside looking in. Today, I declare that that lie is broken. I speak a new word, a new direction over you, forward, not backward, not circling, forward. Prepare your heart for the unexpected. I am about to surprise you with my goodness in ways that will leave you breathless. I will show you favor in places where you felt you were disqualified. I will elevate you in the very areas where you felt most inadequate. I will pour out my spirit upon you in a greater measure than you have ever experienced. This outpouring is not just for your own benefit, but for the people I have sovereignly assigned to your voice, your touch, and your presence. They are waiting for you. Your obedience is the key that will unlock someone else's breakthrough. Child, listen now as I speak to you of those who have walked this path before you. I want you to understand that your experience is part of a sacred and ancient pattern. The road you are on, a road of testing, fire, purification, and promise, has been trod by many of my most beloved servants, both those whose names the world remembers and those whose names are known only in heaven. You are not the first to feel the crushing weight of my silence. You are not the first to bear the heavy burden of waiting. You are not the first to feel the sting of rejection or the deep confusion of divine delay. You are walking in the very footsteps of those who were called, chosen, broken, and then powerfully elevated, not by human strength, but by my spirit. Think of my servant Abraham. I called him to leave his homeland, to abandon everything that was familiar, and to journey to a land he had never seen. I made him a promise not just of territory, but of a legacy so vast his descendants would outnumber the stars in the sky. And yet for decades, his diffus womb remained barren. There was no child. His faith was not tested once in a dramatic moment, but continually, day after day, year after year. There were seasons where it seemed the promise was a distant, fading memory. He had moments where he doubted, where he tried to help me fulfill my own word through his own human schemes. But still, I counted him as righteous. Not because he was perfect, but because, in the end, he always came back to believing me. And when the time was perfectly writ, me time, not his, he gave him Isaac, the child of the promise. But even then, the testing was not over. I asked him to place that very promise upon an altar, and in an act of ultimate trust, he obeyed. That is the heart I look for. Not a heart of perfection, but a heart of complete surrender. Not a heart that needs control, but a heart that is rooted in trust. Look at Joseph. I gave him dreams in his youth, glimpses of glory, of leadership, and of great honor. But his journey to the palace did not start with an invitation. It began in a desolate pit. He was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into the chains of slavery, falsely accused by a mistress wife, and left to languish in a forgotten prison for years. What looked to the world like a series of tragic detours was the very path I had designed to position him for greatness. Through the pain of betrayal, I prepared his heart for reconciliation. Through the injustice of his imprisonment, I refined his character. In the darkness of that prison cell, I carved out of him the humility and integrity necessary to carry immense authority without being consumed by pride. And then, in a single day, I lifted him from the prison to the palace, from forgotten prisoner to the second most powerful man in the known world. Do not despise your days of obscurity, my child, for it is in those hidden seasons that I am crafting the soul that will one day carry my glory. Moses, too, walked a long journey of fire and preparation. He was born into a time of great danger, raised as a prince in the palaces of Egypt, yet torn between two identities. He knew rejection from both sides. In a moment of anger, he acted in his own strength and was forced to flee for his life. He ran from his past, from his calling, and spent 40 long years in the desolate wilderness, tending sheep. But that wilderness was not a punishment. It was his university. It was there, in the profound stillness, that I taught him how to truly hear my voice. It was there, in the utter silence, that I forged within him a deep and lasting humility. And when he finally returned to Egypt, he did not come in the strength of his former royal position, but in the overwhelming power of my presence. He was filled with self-doubt. He told me he was not an eloquent speaker. He felt completely inadequate for the task. But I do not choose my servants based on their natural ability. I choose them based on their willingness. And with a stuttering tongue and a simple shepherd's staff, he became the man who led my people out of centuries of bondage. Consider David, the shepherd boy, anointed king in secret while he was still a youth, overlooked and ignored even by his own father. When the prophet Samuel came to anoint the next king, David wasn't even invited to the ceremony. He was out in the fields with the sheep. It was there, alone in the pastures, that he worshipped me when no one was watching. It was there that he fought off lions and bears to protect his flock when there was no audience to applaud his bravery. That was his true test. Not the public battle with the giant Goliath, but the private faithfulness he demonstrated day after day when there was no one to impress. And when I finally elevated him to the throne, he did not forget me. Yes, he stumbled terribly. He sinned in grievous ways, but his heart always returned to me. He was a man after my own heart, not because he was flawless, but because he never stopped seeking my face. Even in the depths of his failure, He chose the path of repentance over the poison of pride. That is the posture of heart that I will always honor. Think of Elijah, the mighty prophet of fire. He called down my power from heaven on Mount Carmel in a spectacular display of my sovereignty. And yet, just days later, we find him sitting under a broom tree, depleted and depressed, asking me to take his life. He felt utterly alone, abandoned by everyone, and misunderstood. He felt that his great victory had been in vain. But I came to him, not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but in a still, small voice. Because my greatest and most intimate work in your life is not always loud and spectacular. Sometimes, it is in the quiet, in the hidden, in the whispered word of comfort. And I reminded him that he was not alone. I showed him that I had preserved thousands of others who had not bowed their knees to false gods. I am always doing far more than you can see. Remember Jeremiah, my weeping prophet. His heart broke as he delivered my words to a people who stubbornly refused to listen. He was mocked, beaten, and thrown into a muddy cistern to die. He questioned his very calling. He cried out in anguish, "Why was I even born?" And yet, I had appointed him for this task before he was even formed in his mother's womb. I told him not to be afraid of their faces, for I had made him like a fortified city, like an iron pillar against their opposition. His assignment was heavy, but his soul was mine. And though very few listened to his voice while he was on earth, his words have echoed with power through all subsequent generations. Think also of Esther, an orphan girl hidden away in a foreign palace. She was placed in a position of immense influence, not through her own ambition, but through my divine and sovereign orchestration. When the moment of crisis came, when she had to risk her own life to save her people, she found the courage to say, "If I perish, I perish." That was her test. Not in a moment of comfort, but in a moment that demanded absolute courage. She was not the loudest voice. She was not the most obvious choice for a hero, but she was available, and I used her courageous obedience to preserve an entire nation. And Job, a man who was faithful and upright, yet was afflicted with a level of loss that is almost unimaginable. His wealth was stolen, his children were taken, his body was broken with disease, and his reputation was destroyed. His own friends came and accused him of secret sin, and his wife told him to curse me and die. Yet even in his agony and confusion, he cried out to me. He demanded answers from his Creator, and I met him. Not with a neat and tidy explanation for his suffering, but with a powerful revelation of who I am. I reminded him of my infinite wisdom, of my creative power, of my absolute sovereignty over all things. And in the end, I restored to him not just what he had lost, but double. For I do not just return what was taken, I redeem it and make it more glorious than before. My apostles, my prophets, my martyrs, so many of them walked this road of fire. Think of Paul, who was beaten, imprisoned, shipwrecked, and stoned, left for dead more than once. Yet he was the one who wrote, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us." He learned the secret of being content in every situation because he knew his source of strength was not himself. As he said, "I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength." Many of his most powerful letters that carry the keys of freedom to the world, were written while he was bound in chains. And finally, my own son Jesus. He walked the ultimate path of testing and surrender. He was perfect, sinless, and the embodiment of love, yet he was rejected, misunderstood, and betrayed by those closest to him. The very same crowd that shouted Hosanna one day was screaming, "Crucify him," just a few days later. In the garden he wept. He sweat drops of blood in his agony. On the cross he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" But he endured that cross, despising its shame for the joy that was set before him. And now he is exalted to the highest place, seated at my right hand, and he is interceding for you at this very moment. He understands your pain. He understands your temptation. He understands your sorrow because He bore it all for you. He passed the ultimate test so that you could walk in His victory. Do you see now, my child? You are part of a great and noble lineage, a lineage of those who were tested, refined, purified, and elevated. Their paths were never easy, but they were holy. Their victories did not come without immense struggle, but their struggle produced for them an eternal weight of glory that far outweighs their temporary trials. You walk among them. Their blood, their prayers, their worship, their unwavering faith, it all surrounds you now like a great cloud of witnesses. They are cheering for you from the ramparts of heaven. They are waiting to see how you will carry the baton of faith that they once held. You are not alone in this. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. Every feeling you have ever felt, every fear that has tried to grip you, every tear you have shed in Zekra, it has all been felt by these great saints who came before you. And just like them, you will overcome, not by your own strength, but by mine. Not through your own perfection, but through my unending grace. I do not call the qualified. I qualify those whom I have called. Even now, at this moment, I am aligning your journey with the divine echoes from the past. You will find yourself drawn to the same places of deep prayer, of quiet stillness, of surprising courage. You will begin to understand the scriptures not just with your intellect, but with the wisdom of your own experience. You will see that they are not just ancient stories. They are sacred patterns. They are patterns of my ways. They are patterns of my faithfulness. They are patterns of how I work in the lives of those who yield themselves completely to me. I want you to know deep in your soul that what you are facing has profound meaning. It has a purpose. It is producing in you a legacy of faith that will outlive your years on this earth. What I am doing in you is not just for this season of your life. It is for generations to come. The choices you make today, the faith you demonstrate in this trial, the surrender you walk in right now, it will affect more people than you can possibly see. Just as the obedience of those who came before you helped to shape the path you are on, your obedience will shape the path for those who come after you. You are being grafted into a holy story, a divine narrative that stretches from eternity past to eternity future. The same fire that touched the lips of the prophet Isaiah, the same breath of my spirit that filled Ezekiel's valley of dry bones, the same power that fell upon the disciples at Pentecost, the very same spirit, that same power, is with you right now. You are not at the end of the line. You are a vital part of the continuation of my movement on the earth. Even in your weakness, I am strong. Even in your questioning, I am faithful. Even in what feels like a delay, I am working diligently behind the scenes. I waste nothing. I forget nothing. I forsake no one. When I begin a good work in someone, I am always faithful to complete it. When I make a promise, I will always perform it. My word never returns to me void. What I have spoken to you in the secret place, I will do. What I have shown you in visions and dreams, I will bring to pass. It will not happen on your schedule, but on mine, and my timing is always perfect. So I want you to take heart, take courage. When the darkness tries to whisper lies to you, when it tells you that you've missed your chance, that it's too late, that the journey is too hard, remember the stories of those who went before you. They heard the very same lies, but they clung to me, and in the end, I vindicated them. I lifted them up. I fulfilled every word I had spoken to them, and I will do the same for you. You may feel small and insignificant, but you are chosen. You may feel like you are behind, but you are right on time according to my divine calendar. You may feel invisible to the world, but I see you constantly. The world may not understand your process, but I am the one who authored it. And what I write, no man can erase. What I ordain, no power in heaven or on earth can stop. What I begin, I always finish. So lift your head, my child. Wipe away your tears. Take one more step. You are walking a sacred path, a path marked by my own hand. Every detour you thought was a mistake, every delay that caused you frustration, every heartbreak that shattered you. You have used it all to shape your heart and make it fully mine. Do not compare your journey to anyone else's. I never create duplicates. I am the author of beautifully unique stories. Yours is beautiful, it is holy, and its impact will be eternal. There will be more tests, yes, but you must understand that with every new test comes a greater revelation of who I am. With every test comes a deeper level of intimacy with me. With every test comes a new dimension of spiritual authority. The tests are never meant to break you. They are designed to build you. They are not meant to shame you. They are meant to show you the incredible strength and resilience I have placed deep inside you. Each test you pass brings you deeper into the glorious mystery of who I am and who you are in me. You are not just called to survive this life. You are called to reign, not in pride but in purpose, not in arrogance but in my anointing. The great men and women of the past stood faithfully in their time. Now you must stand in yours. Do not shrink back. Do not allow fear to silence the song I have placed in your heart. Raise your voice. Take your place. Shine my light into the darkness. And when you feel weary, when you feel you cannot go on, remember that you are not the only one who has ever felt this way. You are surrounded by a heavenly host of those who know exactly what it costs to carry my fire. Their stories are not just words in a book. They are alive in heaven, and their spirits bear witness with my spirit that I am faithful. The very same spirit who sustained them through their trials will sustain you. The very same love that carried them through the fire will carry you. I have never failed, and I never will, not in them and not in you. So trust me, my child, trust me completely.